everybody, it's Katie with Grandma's House on the Mountain Facebook and Messy Gardener YouTube channel. Today I want to go into our Grandma's House on the Mountain porch talk. A time when we get to do stories, tell you funny things, sad things. I hope we laugh at things. Not a lot of crying at things because I don't want to be negative. There's enough negative stuff out there. But we might talk about just a little bit here and there. But I would like to be, able to inform you of certain things that, a grandmother would warn you about or let you know about, because that's just the way us grandmas are, right? So today, we're going to, by the way, pull up your favorite cup of tea, cup of coffee, whatever, if you'd like, or a muffin, I wish I had made some, but unfortunately I don't have any, so grab yourself whatever snack you got. I apologize. Grandma will try to have muffins next time. Anyways, come and join us on the back porch and we'll chit-chat. All right, today, I just want to warn you real quick, the chickens have been a little noisy. My grandson and my daughter are down in the valley with the car, so I'm hoping to be able to get this done while it's still somewhat quiet, although the chickens may or may not go along with that, may or may not approve of that plan. But we'll see. All right, so today I would like to start out with recalls. I don't know if you've been paying attention. There's been an awful lot of recalls. Fresh lettuce, anything that you eat raw that's a vegetable. There's been recalls. There's been recalls of Listeria in frozen meals. Those are the ones you really got to worry about. Ice cream. I mean, who thinks of ice cream being infected with a bacteria, right? It's in the freezer, but it does. It can get that. So I want to talk about a kind of funny one. It's one of those that you're like, really? Really? Do we have to put that on the label? Okay. So it is this 64,000 pounds, I believe, nationwide recalled of this European butter blend from this American company. Cannot think of the company off the top of my head, but they're back east somewhere. I want to guess Delaware, if I remember correctly. Anyways, that doesn't really matter. What matters is they recalled these 64,000 pounds of butter because they did not declare on the packaging that the allergen of milk was an ingredient. How many of you kind of went, what? Butter is made with milk. Yeah. I was totally dumbfounded for a few minutes after reading that. Because whenever there's recalls, I go in because, I have grandchildren. I have, like my daughter when she was in Texas, there was a couple of recalls of things that I knew she used down there. So, I keep track of things like that because it's important. As part of my job as a mom, grandma, wife, whatever, house runner of the house, whatever. So I like to read those because sometimes if you just read the headlines, it doesn't always tell you the full story, especially nowadays with the way their clickbait is, that you think you're going to watch a video about this and they never even go into that. Oh, irritates me to no end. But I've learned how to pick them out, for the most part. So, you can tell the AI-generated voice in a heartbeat. Oh my gosh. Except for the ones that sound like other people. That's different. But I digress. We'll get into that sometime. So yes, I thought that was kind of funny that, they had to actually put on the butter ingredients that it was milk. Ay, ay, ay. What is this world coming to? I blame it on everybody leaving the farm. Because think about it. Everybody that grew up on a farm back in the day before we had that big move to the cities that everybody ends up migrating to, everybody knew butter came from milk and milk came from a cow. Or minimum, or a goat, a dairy animal. And you could make butter and cheese out of it, right? You all know cheese is made with butter and butter. That's what I don't understand. Good Lord, these kids don't even know it's made with milk. Oh my gosh. I don't know what's going to happen to this world. I really don't. But Jesus is coming, so that's all that matters. All right, so let's go into a little bit of a serious one. I want to make you guys aware. Some of you live in the South. Some of you go to the South for vacation. You go into Florida, or, like I've been in Texas. Not that I went into any water. But I wanted to let you know that the CDC has reported a uptick in flesh-eating bacteria infections, specifically in the Gulf states, or states that are warm and have brackish dark water, salty water, brackish, which is a mixture of salt and fresh. And it stinks. Oh, that's the only thing I didn't like about being close to the ocean was the brackish water smell. Ugh. Anyway. So they're having an uptick into that. It is called, let's see if I can remember how to pronounce this. It's been a while since I've said some Latin things. Vibrio vulnificus bacterium, flesh-eating bacteria. So what they're saying is, in Florida, for instance, they have 8 deaths so far in Florida this year. 13 total cases through 11 counties. So, you have 8 dead and 13 total. So some did recover. Okay. In contrast, in 2024, they had 82 cases and 19 deaths. So even though the year's not done yet, the article said an uptick. I don't know. Anybody, a statistician, can tell me what the percentage, what that, if going on that current curve of 8 deaths, in that time frame. Let me know if you can do that. Or even do it on Excel. I'd have to look and see if I can. Yeah, it's too much work. Too much work. So, and then also Louisiana had reported that they had 17 cases and 4 deaths. So the statistics for flesh-eating bacteria infections, most of them happen, like I said, in the Gulf states, and that also includes, it's not just the Gulf states, it includes your Georgia, your South Carolina, your North Carolina, and some extent to Southern Virginia. It's got to be warm. And let me tell you, brackish water in Georgia is warm. Jekyll Island, we used to take the kids at least twice a month to Jekyll Island to go swimming and whatever. So when you have to cross over that brackish water that, takes you to Jekyll Island that separates, St. Simon's Island and all that, that's full of brackish water. Oh, does it stink? Oh. Who would want to go swimming in brackish water? Seriously. Anyways, it happens. And it's not only if you swim in the brackish water, to be fair. It is transported on, your oysters, you can also pick it up in other raw shellfish. So, in other words, don't eat raw oysters. Follow the cooking guidelines on meat and temperature-wise. Don't get yourself sick. Okay? It's not worth it. So you have those coastal waters, those brackish waters where salt and fresh water are mixing, basically. That in that warm area, that bacterium loves it. Loves it, loves it, loves it. So if you're walking in the water just to wade through, or you have sandals on, or you, without realizing it, you stepped in a part of the brackish water just where it starts, where land ends, and you can't really tell sometimes. And you have a cut on your foot. Nobody said you swam in it, but you stepped in it with a sore on your foot, and then the next thing you know, you got flesh-eating disease. Not that it's going to happen, 1 million times to 1 million people over the season, but you know what? Nothing wrong with being cautious, guys. Be cautious. So if you know you have open wounds, don't. Hold on a second. Luca! I've had to do this video a couple times because of him, and I'm ready to kill him. So hopefully, Luca, come here. Maybe I can get him to stay quiet for the rest. So, alright, so we have that worry there. So make sure you protect yourself. Don't get into brackish water. Don't eat raw shellfish. Follow the directions on cooking for your meats. That just goes without saying. Always, 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 clean up after yourself. Cleanliness is the key to not getting sick. Basically, it comes down to it. Okay? You want to be sick, then don't clean. So, clean up after yourself. Cook your stuff well. Okay, Grandma said enough of that, right? Okay, enough of that. Let's move on. So I have a couple of funny things I want to talk about. One is, I saw an article that they're now offering, actually I saw an ad, a couple ads actually show up, because I'm an older woman, and they know that a logarithm, that I'm older, and that I'm wrinkled, and that I'm menopausal. I mean, just whatever, it's just ridiculous, some of the stuff I get, commercials I get. So one of the commercials was that you can go in and get Botox on layaway. Okay, maybe not layaway, but get your Botox now and pay later. Are plastic surgeons that behind on their student loans that they have to get people in and have accounts receivable? Wow. Talk about 16-year-olds or 14-year-olds that go in and get this and think, well, I can just get my little paper route or whatever, or the people that are a little bit older, maybe, 17, working, got a little job, getting some extra money. Oh, I don't like this. I think I need to get this. You can get fillers. You can get Botox. I'll put it on layaway. Then they wonder why 10 years later their face is melting. Because everything fell off. Or they all look like Barbies. They don't move. There's no expression, no emotion. They're just Stepford wives. Right? Those of you who know what that is. So I thought that was funny. Let's just pay into that obsession with young girls having to look a certain way. They're all turning out to look like Kim Kardashian. Seriously, you guys think she's that pretty that everybody has to copy her? Have you seen her? No. God made us individual. I like difference. That's what draws me to people. So they're not the same cookie cutter. Or not the same, cookie cutter personality, cookie cutter looks, whatever. I'm beyond looking for looks nowadays, to be honest with you. That's not in my vocabulary right now. But you know what I mean. So, we have that obsession as Americans especially to worship youthfulness and, and all that goes with that. So it's not a good trend that I see. Alright, so we got some other girly type news. Those of you who liked Bed Bath & Beyond will be happy-ish. Overstock.com bought the intellectual property of Bed Bath & Beyond and is reopening the stores with the name Bed Bath & Beyond Home. I'm assuming they'll carry similar items since they're still using the name. So, since Overstock does some furniture stuff too, I'm envisioning maybe a little bit more furniture. And with those, I don't know, what do you guys think? The test store is, I don't know if it's open now or will be in a couple of weeks. The test store is in Tennessee. So depending on how it goes with the test store in Tennessee, the Bed Bath & Beyond Home, the new rebranded by Overstock.com, we'll see how it does. Personally, there was nice stuff in there. I'd go in ooh and ah. But you're talking to somebody who is very much a use what you got person. I had 4 kids and didn't work, and Mark was, on on submarines in the Navy, and you don't join the Navy to be rich. Okay, so I'm used to making do with what I got or finding what'll work for less money, things like that. And that's kind of maybe a little bit maybe what I hope to kind of spread on to you guys. Save your real money for the good stuff. Spending time with your children, going on that vacation you really wanted. Stop! Get that car you wanted. Although nowadays, I don't know, the prices, maybe you should not get a car. But treat yourself instead of spending it on something that you could easily reproduce or easily repurpose, or make or whatever. Sometimes, because of where I live up here, I have to make the choice between either going down into town and spending the money, or get the gas money to get it right now, or getting it cheaper and not spending gas money by ordering it on Amazon, and I usually have it. They've been getting good. We actually finally got Amazon van drivers up here. We didn't have those before. That just started. We had to wait a day, or 2 days. We had to wait the real 2 days, because we're considered rural. Right? So when I saw the Amazon van come and deliver to my neighbor, I was like, wow! So we actually get things in 1 day now. All the way up here, in the middle of nowhere. I mean, the nickname for our town is Nowhere, right? Okay, so it tells you where I live. All right, let's get back to that. So the other thing that I think the ridiculousness of this. Now, this is for those who follow this kind of stuff. If you don't follow this, then skip forward. It should automatically do chapters, I think. On YouTube it does. Anyways, so that's one thing. But what I want to talk about is Diddy. This is so ridiculous. Okay, unless you guys don't pay attention to that type of news, you just turn a blind eye, which I totally understand. There's certain things I turn a blind eye to because it's you are what you eat, and you also eat through your brain because you're putting it in there. So I try. There is times I am very much so turn the page, click away quickly. But this one, I didn't really read like the transcripts and stuff. I don't need that. Nobody needs to read that. I mean, I know for the court cases they needed all that information, but oh my gosh. Anyway, so what's ridiculous is that he's trying to get out of jail by saying, or get out of being sentenced, whatever, that he wants to be a domestic abuse counselor. He'll make it up to everybody by team. Domestic abuse counselor. Okay, Mr. Sean P. Diddy, you are one of the stupidest men I have ever met. I'm not met. Yeah, that's right. You're one of the stupidest men I have not met. To really think that you'd be qualified. Now, I'm not saying that God can't transform people and people can't change. But when you look at the statistics of domestic abusers, do they just all of a sudden turn the page and become perfect people? No, we all know that. So it's just ridiculous that he would say that. And when I heard the rumor that Trump may pardon P. Diddy, I about had a kitten. Now, I like my president. I will be honest and say that. The option was a befuddled idiot. And I felt it was elder abuse. That he should have been home on his behind or on his beach playing with his grandchildren until the end of his life. They didn't need to put him through all that. Not to mention, from a professional and national level, what were you thinking? Who was holding the nuclear football? He had the nuclear codes. This man who didn't even know what is, he would turn around mid-handshake. He doesn't even remember how to ride a bicycle. That's how bad he was. He forgot to ride a bicycle because he kept falling off. Right? So that's my little dissertation on why I voted for Trump. One of many reasons. But the alternative, and then you had giggling Kamala, which you might as well just forget it. But I won't even get into her right now. Democrats need to size themselves up and look at what's going on. Because I used to vote based on the people and what their stance was. Most of the time now, I don't even look at the Democrat stance. Only in local will I look at things like that because, you need to know these people because they live near you or whatever. But, I digress. See what I mean? I get talking. So, Diddy, as a domestic counselor, what do you think? I don't know. Put it in the comments. I'd like to see what you have to say about that. Other than, you stupid. All right. So one more thing I want to go over real quick, and it's really, really cool. There just came out with a study that Harvard Medical School was doing, or is doing, on Alzheimer's and dementia research. There is, I don't know if you remember, those of you who have read or been around a little bit longer than the rest of us, remember lithium being used for people who had depression, other mental illnesses before the SSRIs and NPRIs, if I'm saying that right. The new medications that have come out, the antipsychotics and things like that, they always use lithium. Well, in the herbal world, or supplements, whatever, the lithium is certain form, ordinate, I'd have to go back and look it up, has been found to stop Alzheimer's, prevent Alzheimer's, and reverse Alzheimer's. Lithium. They found it was missing or low levels in people that have dementia, or Alzheimer's and related dementia. I thought that was really cool because they do sell that in the supplement stores and even on Amazon. So I will. I have not taken any, and I will do a little bit of research. I can't afford to do anything like that right now, but I will put a link to the Amazon one in there and let you guys see what it is, and then do your own comparison shopping if it's something you want to look into. But they also said, one doctor said he's been studying this a long time, and he was very excited, and he hadn't seen anything like this the whole time he's worked on it. So they think it might be a deficiency of lithium in people's brains. They said it's the earlier you get the decent levels of lithium, the better off you are, and less chance you have of getting dementia or Alzheimer's. Maybe not all of dementia, because there is different types of dementia caused by different things. But this is more of the amyloids that are on the plaques that are on people's brains. So now lithium is a naturally occurring mineral in our brain. Naturally occurs in us. So it's interesting why, we have all of a sudden we have all this Alzheimer's, and where did the disconnect come for, the lithium and Alzheimer's? I mean, when, maybe one of you guys can look it up, is when did Alzheimer's start trending up? I mean, we have to also take into account that we had baby boomers, which was a larger part of the population aging, so that might be some of the increase. But it makes you kind of wonder, I'm one of those people that I like to follow connections. I like to find, one of my favorite programs on Discovery Channel years ago, it was called Connections. And this guy would start out with something simple as shaving razor, just for instance, just grabbing one just off the top of my head. He'd connect that all the way through everybody to Richard Nixon, or the opening of something totally unrelated. But because this razor was made, it affected everything else. And there was a lot of different things. It wasn't just, it was sometimes historical events that started things, like if you think about the assassination of the Archduke Ferdinand in Austria, started World War I. and how it, yeah, how it snowballed into that. I was so, wow. Yeah, I like that. I like being able to find the connections between things. What's the cause? Why did that happen? Like, why do we have so many allergies today? Food allergies. One thing is to go back and look at our wheat, our grains. How have they been GMO'd? Whether the farmer wanted a GMO or not. You know? And there's a book by a doctor cardiologist called Wheat Belly. Like wheat, which you make bread out of. Wheat Belly. I have it on my Kindle. I read a little bit of it. My attention span lately has been horrible. But I read a little bit of it, and he talks about how the wheat has changed and how that has caused a lot of obesity, issues, heart issues, things like that. The other big lie that we're dealing with the consequences now, especially those of us who were around in late 70s, early 80s, well, even maybe into the 90s, is the low fat. You must eat everything with as low as fat as possible. And then they replaced it with cellulose, which is basically just plant material. Cellulose, just broken down, can be beaten up, wheat stems, whatever, processed into food safe. It's a filler. It's just a filler. So, we got to look at all that. What is causing that? Same thing. If you look back, and this is something maybe we can get into on a live, maybe where you guys can chat back with me. It's interesting when you look back over the last 40 years, 50 years. I'll be 60 next month. But, I know enough of history and read enough that even back further into the 50s, we've noticed this increase in illnesses, diabetes, heart attacks, heart disease, cancers, food allergies, if I haven't said it already. Things, people are showing up with allergies, to latex. Everything kind of, you have to go, okay, was that just because we're better at discovering things? We have better science to discover these things? That's what people was getting allergic to? Or was it because of a combination of, because we changed our food caused this, which caused this, which caused you to be allergic to latex? See, it's kind of like this rabbit hole you go on. And with that, I'm going to leave it, and we'll pick this up next time. All right, everybody, have a good day. Remember to always check your recall list. Just do a quick search on your Google or anything you use. DuckDuckGo, whatever that's called. Anything that you use to search the internet, type in recalls, United States, and you'll see. If you just want to look up food recalls, whatever. And I think maybe even the CDC and the FDA, more the FDA website might have them too. So, all right, everybody, don't walk and swim in any brackish water, especially with open sores. Stay away from that brackish water down in the south. It's got to be warm and brackish. If you have ice, I'm sure we have brackish water. Matter of fact, I know we have brackish water up in New York. It's just that we get cold and kill the bacteria. It's the only difference. So, all right, well, my grandchildren are home, and my laptop battery just gave me a warning, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and we will talk soon. Okay, bye-bye.